and start better.
So good.
I know I seem to have made one hidden out to speak, reflections of who I'd be. Stay away from everything. Oh, I want to be heard. I want to be free. I will find you buried in my roots. See me for who I am, or hear me when no one can. For years I lay here, an echo of my heart, locked inside, dig my mind, alone we fall apart. Oh, I want to be heard. I want to be free. Oh, I will find you buried in my roots. See me for who I am, and hear me when no one can.
Thanks.
Reflections of who I'd be. Stay away from everything.
Recorded live from the Engine Room in Broad Ripple, this is the Voices of Indy livestream hosted by Josh Gillespie. Voices of Indy is a show dedicated to giving you the opportunity to know the musical, visual, and theatrical arts of Indianapolis, Indiana. This week's guest is singer-songwriter, bluesman, and musician extraordinaire John Boyle. Today's episode is sponsored by Indianapolis Independent Entertainment. IIE LLC's goal is to help grow local DIY artists, freelancers, and businesses within Indianapolis and generate more paying creative opportunities. Their mission is simple: to establish a network of creatives who excel in areas of need and connecting them with other network members. This way they can help to expand the local art and music scenes. IIE believes that by eliminating some of the intimidating barriers within the entertainment industry, more opportunities will be produced for local freelancers and businesses. This will help Indianapolis become the place to go for art and music in the Midwest. If you are interested in learning more, go to their website, indyent.com. That's INDYINDIEENT.com, and fill out a free application to discuss how you and IIE can redefine making it together. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very excited to have on this week's guest. I had the pleasure of meeting him just one-on-one a few weeks ago over coffee, and we had a blast just talking. So I have listened to his music. In fact, I met John in, I think it was October of last year, and it didn't take long for him to actually become my number one played Spotify artist last year.
It's because you don't use Spotify.
That's no comment. Ladies and gentlemen, John Boyle. Sorry, I guess you while you're taking a drink. No need to apologize. This is just a free-flowing conversation, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
How are you, man?
So, John, you actually have quite the resume, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
Who is John Boyle, and what brought you to Indianapolis?
Yeah, right on, man. So, I think the one thing I was thinking about when you were introducing the show, do you ever think about changing your name to Gosh Gillespie? Because my name's Bon Joyle, which sounds like pretty good if you switch it around. So I'm Bon Joyle.
I haven't.
Okay.
No.
I
But
like
I might
Gosh,
start calling
though.
you
That's
Bon.
fun. No, so I grew up, I was born in Indianapolis and then was swiftly carried out to Danville, Indiana, west side of town, right out there. And, grew up there on a little kind of farm with some sheep and cows and things like that. When
You really were farming it up.
Really was doing it. But yeah, so, I don't know, life moved on, went to college here at Marion in town, and started playing music in 8th grade, kind of that summer before high school,
Yeah.
I was like, I want to learn to play guitar. And so I told my dad that. He said, well, if you can figure out how to play better than I can, which, strum some chords and stuff,
Oh, so your dad wasn't exactly lighting it up on the guitar.
No, he knew how to do it. He could play,
okay.
he could play, your basic chords, and he'd get in that rhythm every now and then. So it's like, if you can do that, then, we'll get you a guitar. So took a couple days and got there. And then it was, because it was fun. It was like I played trumpet and, school.
I did too.
Yeah. What, like standard in Midwestern band trumpet, or what were you doing?
Oh, no, so I went to a private school, and we did not.
So you had lessons.
I did in high school, yes.
Uh-huh.
And the only reason I started taking lessons in high school, because I was at the end of the trumpet section.
Okay, cool.
Literally, I didn't care.
Yeah.
I enjoyed band, don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But, I wasn't like gonna make a career of it.
Yeah.
But you know how in band they have challenges. That's how you start the year.
Yep.
And so in tryouts, or however that whole thing goes, my sophomore year, after spending junior high and my freshman year languishing at the end of row of 12 trumpets, I somehow ended up third.
Right on.
And
got it.
And I saw an easy access to second, so I took advantage.
Murder.
No, it was like
kid.
blood was in the water at that point. I was like, "What? I did this? Okay."
Got the confidence.
I did.
Yeah.
And
a knife.
and
Murdered that kid. His name was Josh Franklin. He's dead.
Actually,
there can only be one Josh.
Her name was Erica, and I took her down.
Nice.
And so I sophomore year is actually when I started taking lessons, and it was a concert band.
Okay.
We didn't have marching band. I mean, so it was a concert band and a pep band.
Hated marching.
So I didn't have a marching band.
Good for you.
Yeah,
that's a win.
I got out of that. But you played trumpet too.
Played trumpet. Did that. Enjoyed music. Wanted to play in a punk band. That was the goal. Guitar, punk band. And
trumpet player.
I was like, screw. Well, yeah, that more to come. So started learning guitar. That worked good. Got the first guitar, pawn shop guitar, sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Got to make sure you're taking it serious before
Sure.
you spend some money on that. So we played. I had a punk band with one of my best friends at the time, Johnny and Ryan, and another kid, Rob. So we had this, I don't know, crappy high school punk rock band that was a lot of fun and super noisy and
nice.
Put our parents through all sorts of I'm sure exciting times.
Oh sure.
So that was fun, and then other friends, they had a ska band, so I'd play trumpet and guitar in that. And
okay, so this must have been the late 90s.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So that got kicked out of that band, then came back to that band, got kicked out of that band, came back to that sort of fun in high school. But I just played music, and I always have. Went to school, got a degree, got a job, have a job, to more school, all that
sure,
stuff.
Yeah.
But I've always just played music, and play in a super fun jazz, quartet in Indy called Triple, with some incredible musicians, and then have always just been trying to kind of play my music on top of that. So a big part of that was always like I'd play guitar or I'd play bass in that band, but was like quietly writing songs on the side that didn't
Sure.
fit in with that,
I
or
totally get that.
or that
Yes.
I didn't know like also how to sing. I mean, I could sing, you know, like you do in school and stuff, but
Sure.
when you hear my speaking voice, my singing voice is down a little bit. But
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock when I met
Yeah,
you, and I was
it's
like, because I had listened to you,
sure,
because I was like, I should probably listen to this guy's music before
before we have a chat.
before we have a chat. And I listened to you, and I was like, wow, okay, so this should be something.
Yeah.
And then upon first look, I'm like, dude is tall.
Tall, lanky
So
dude.
tall, deep voice. This should be an interesting conversation. Then you start talking.
Yeah, and then I ruined it for you. And then you're like,
The whole
no,
thing
stick
was
around.
just,
I'll
it
give
was
you
just
money.
kaput.
Yeah. No, but I like I don't know, some of my favorite music when I started getting into music, which was when I started getting out of punk rock and just playing guitar. So like there was a point in high school where I was like, I'm not going to be in the school band. You know, I was like, sports are kind of getting boring. So like my senior year, did not do any of that and just started a new band with my friend Johnny and some kids from Clinton who were awesome dudes.
Okay.
One of who I think you've had a recent chat
Was
with.
on my most previous guest.
Which was crazy.
That is crazy.
But it was a fantastic time. It was just playing a lot of music, playing a lot of guitar. But one of the albums that took me over the edge was Cream, Wheels of Fire. Like that double. Like my parents had the record player and the record collection that sat in the corner forever.
Yeah.
And then at some point in high school, you know, through friends, started finding Pink Floyd and Clapton and The Doors, and you know, so it was learning to play guitar like more than power chords and you know just power chords. You know,
Sure. I mean, you start listening to David Gilmour, and you're like, I want to do that.
I want to do that. So I started doing that, and I just sit at home and play guitar all the time, you know. But like Jim Morrison and you know singing for the Doors, it was like that is an awesome voice. And then Clapton leading into the blues, and then you start listening to all these blues cats from like the '60s, and you know you're like, oh, these voices are so much cooler than mine. And then at 17, it wasn't even any better, you know. So it just took some time to kind of figure that out. So I didn't like play out on my own until I was like 30 or something.
Really?
Yeah, I was just played in a band. You know, it was
okay. Well,
I played guitar
or
I played bass or you know, I was just in a band, but it was never like my music.
Yeah.
So that first album, Early Lights, was like some songs I'd just been cobbling together, and then just started working it out. And Dustin Franklin, if you know him from Indy, he's in the group Coastal.
Okay.
And he's just an incredible person, but he helped me record that album. And that was his first thing. He's like, all right, so that's the guitar. Cool. Okay, let's do vocals. And, you know, he puts in, God, it was the voice of the devil. And, you know, but it's deeper, you know, that's fun.
No, yeah.
But I don't know, getting down there was like good. Like you said, you know, I get that confidence, and then it just starts to knock on, and it was fun. And it's like, oh, this isn't bad. And playing shows, writing music, and it's been going great.
So you actually are still in a band, though.
Yep.
And I mean, is that something that you like to keep going? Like, keep the solo stuff going as well as the band? I mean, is that
a little bit of both? Like right now, so new album just came out last week.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah, somewhere in between.
Yes.
So like the first album, Early Lights, is just me. It was like pretty acoustic. A couple songs had some kind of bigger, fuller band arrangement, bass and drums and stuff like that in it. And then I like toured that in 2018 with the help from good old Ben Cannon and Spark Joy back then. Now, you know, they've got Fortify going, which is awesome. So they were helping book shows, and I like, you know, was 3-day weekend in it a lot and played like 58 shows that year before COVID.
Wow.
Which was killer, like total, you know? So it was like a lot of playing, a lot, you know, like go down to Nashville, Lexington, you know, Chattanooga, up to Chicago, Milwaukee, you know, so it was just getting around anywhere I could get to.
Yeah.
And that's easy to do acoustic. Like,
it is.
Just me. All I got to worry about is getting me in a car and getting there. So it was fun. But I love having a band. Like, that's fun. So this new album is kind of going from the acoustic into the band. And that there's an EP out there, the Prelude EP. It's got a lot of songs that I worked out while touring around that year of doing a bunch of shows. And then the goal was like, well, it's the prelude to doing this with the whole band.
Smart.
And then, and I was like, oh, I'm going
Yeah.
to work that out. And then
Mhm.
that album came out like February 29th. It was Leap Day of 2020. And then that was out for 2 weeks, and then nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
So I was like, okay, we'll regroup.
Mhm.
So it's just been, kind of flowing and going from there. And Somewhere in Between came out during that, in my mind, developed during that time. And then working the prelude songs into the full band. So I've got my friends Brent and Murph, had been playing the whole time through and helping develop that. And we kind of got the song Soul Driven was the first one the three of us kind of like put meat and potatoes to, for like, I know how this works on guitar and vocals. What else is happening? And the breath of life came into the song.
Yeah.
So they're like, is it weird to name the band after the song? So like Bad Company, has that song Bad
Yes.
Company. And
Yes.
I was like, that's kind of weird, but we're going to try it anyways. So like, but it's John Boyle or John Boyle and Soul Driven, and the band's there, which is a lot of fun. So that's me. And then I'm also started playing with Malingo, which is an incredible band with Johnny, who back in that 8th grade punk band.
I feel like there's
a whole through line of,
there is.
Trying and keeping it going. So I don't know, it's been fun.
So let's talk more about your album.
Yeah.
This just came out on Friday, January
19th.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what went into this album, and do you have do you have leftover COVID songs on this album, or
No.
like what went into writing this album,
Yeah.
and what are some of your favorite tracks?
I wanted where like Early Lights was a collection of songs.
Yes.
I'd written a song. I was like, I like that. That's good. I wrote a song. Didn't like that. Leave that off. Wrote another song. Good. And they all kind of go together. And they all fit. You know, it's like, it's enjoyable. This one I wanted to be like more of an album. And it's got the full band arrangement in it, right? So I was like, I want this to feel cohesive and coherent and not, like a scattered little mess.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you hear that out of bands and you're like, oh, I love that song. Rest of the album, not fun.
Yeah.
Like
oh,
even
gosh.
big bands. You remember when we used to buy like CDs
Oh, yeah.
regularly?
Yeah, yeah.
It would be like, if I don't like most of this, I'm not buying the CD because it's not fun to like listen end to end.
Well, I know that's true, and there were so many times when I found myself actually buying the album, hearing one song,
Yep.
and then listening to it and being like, "Wow, this sucks." That one song is great. I love that one song,
And doesn't sound anything like the rest of the album.
No, it doesn't. But here's the thing that I've actually come to realize is I've actually kind of gone back and listened to some of those albums.
Yeah.
20 years later.
Sure.
After the fact, and was like, actually, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
I wasn't old enough to appreciate
Okay.
the rest of that album.
Right.
Like, musically, I wasn't even old enough to appreciate
Sure.
that album. I mean, I can understand why the one song made it onto the radio and was kind of a radio hit.
A vehicle. A
Yeah,
necessary thing.
No,
right.
exactly. But actually,
You're like, I went back and I gave the rest of Dark Side a chance. And like, I thought Money was good, but it turns out that whole album is like
that whole
really
album's
good.
great.
Weird thing, I was watching The Wizard of Oz. And
Well, I mean, truth be told, it's not Pearl Jam's No Code.
okay.
Now, that came out after that's after Vitology. That's when they started getting really weird. And Yield was actually probably the last one that I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
we're done
like,
here.
I think this is
Thank you for
run.
your service.
Yep.
But I got No Code on vinyl of all things. And I listened to, I don't know if it was just the richness of vinyl,
Yeah.
but 20 years later listening to it, I was like,
You're like,
this is actually a really good album.
I like the maturity side of that. I also, which is a good thing to think about for some albums. Others I still think are terrible.
Oh, no, absolutely.
But I also like the vinyl side of it because I feel like that's like, when you listen to vinyl, it is intentional because you're not going to get that far in before you got to flip the thing. Right. So, 18 minutes, and then it's going. So, like when you listen to a podcast or like someone might be right now, but they're like, I'm doing the dishes or I'm grocery shopping or driving to work.
Yeah.
or
You can
streaming
it's
stuff.
mindless.
You don't have to pay attention, but because like when you listen to vinyl, it's like it's gonna stop soon. You kind of want to. I don't know. I do. That's
Yeah,
to
no,
me.
no.
I'd like to sit down and just like listen to an album. Like it's a very fun thing to do. Which I do think you also get like that. Oh, this is way better than I thought it was because I'm giving that song my full attention, and it's a lot more delicate than I thought it was. Or oh man, that chord change was really cool.
No, exactly. In fact, so over Christmas, I won't get into the whole shebang about why our families were traveling in different places
Okay.
at the same time, but
The murder of the high school trumpet player finally caught up with you.
finally caught up with me. I had to escape to Tennessee for a bit. Anyway,
Change your name to Gosh Gillespie.
exactly. So I was actually visiting my parents in Nashville. My wife was visiting her family in South Carolina. I hadn't seen my family in like a year and a half, so this was an opportunity to get down and see them. And I actually ended up coming back before my wife and the rest of my family did. So what did I do? I took that opportunity to listen to some vinyl.
Nice.
And
Just
it
cranked.
is. Yeah, I know. I totally cranked it. Absolutely, I cranked it. And I just enjoyed that opportunity to listen to, like, I had maybe had 2 days to myself,
Right.
just all to myself.
Yeah.
And I listened to like probably 7 albums each day,
Yeah.
and just, knowing full well that I had to get up, turn it over. Some of these albums were 2 discs, so you get maybe 4 songs
Yeah.
per side.
Yep.
And it's like you really had to think about it.
We did that. We did something similar on New Year's Eve going in. So it was like, I don't know. We weren't watching the ball drop or anything, but it was,
Yeah.
So we're hanging out in the house, and it's like, let's do album sides.
Nice.
So everybody pick an album side. We'll just listen to it. So it'd be like Zeppelin side 2, or something like this.
Yeah.
So my girlfriend's son, he's picking albums out. He'd bought a bunch on a couple albums like on vinyl at a record store or vintage store or something. And his process is like, it looked cool. Which we got some of the weirdest like record sides listen. So Carrie and I are like picking out. I like this. I like this. Going through. Do some Bowie or something.
Sure,
counting
yeah.
down to midnight as we get along.
Yeah.
And then Coop throws in, just like some random 80s, like
Little Spyro Gyra.
it was nearly. There's one dude, I can't remember what it was. It was just so out there. It was incredible. Like it was like nearly unlistenable, just wild.
Yeah,
it was like,
no, exactly.
Love it. And it's just a cool album cover,
Yeah.
but you're like, well, we never would have listened to that had we not tried. Like,
That's absolutely true.
then we just get to hang out.
That's absolutely true. That's
Dogs
a lot
are
of fun.
asleep on the couch, music's happening. It was all good.
Oh, that sounds like heaven.
Yeah.
It really does. Well, we are going to take a break to listen to some of
Oh, right on.
your songs.
Yeah.
So, but before we do that, what tracks are we going to be listening to? Because this is something new we're starting this year.
Yeah. Fun.
Where we do the musical numbers in the middle of the show. We get back to back.
Fun.
And so what numbers do we get to hear from you?
So you've got Change My View,
Mm-hmm.
which is new off the album that just came out.
Fantastic.
It's a cool song. I like clearly the acoustic version, so it's got the whole band. It's a song, that whole album, part of it I almost called it like fiction was going to be the album title.
Oh, really?
Because a lot of the songs are like inspired by works of fiction that I love.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's inspired lyrically by Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh,
One of my
okay.
favorite movies
Yeah.
ever. So if you're thinking about it from that perspective, some lyrics might jump out a little further. So it's a cool song. It's pretty interesting. I like trying to make some weird chord changes in it to bring it to life and make it jump. So that's Change My View. That's on the new album. You can check that out.
Okay.
And then the second song is In the City
Mm-hmm.
from the Prelude EP, which is going electric next year. So
Oh, it is?
yeah, so the Prelude was like the acoustic lead-in, and it was like, check out these songs.
nice.
In a bit, they're going to be power trioed up and rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the acoustic version, which is a song about every time I go to New York to visit my brother. He lives in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
About just like, okay, I'm going to move here. This is like there's so much happening. It's so fun, So it was just like
Yeah.
a period of time where I just kept visiting. It was like, okay, I think I'm gonna quit my job in Indy. I'm gonna move to New York, So
Well, I'm grateful you haven't yet.
I'm here. I'm loving it. Still good.
That's good.
So time's working, but
All right. Well, coming up, we will have Change My View and In the City from John Boyle. We'll be right back.
This is Change My View.
There's colors of you shading, fading through. Oh, that I know may change my view. I lost myself, jaded and faded away. I know your heart and you know mine. Echo in your heart, little sounds that love you, call from the dark. Let go before you hold too tight. Fall for what you want me to be, fall because it's right. We won't lose this too. I'll be waiting for you. I'll find you there, and you'll find me. I'll be the echo in your heart, little sounds that love you, call from the dark. Let go before you hold too tight. Fall for what you want me to be, fall because it's right. There's colors of you shaded and fading through. All that I know may change my view.
Right on, right on. All right. This is a song called In the City.
Oh no, you were on the way, and I found you there. Oh no, we forgot to stay to see it in the nights. Oh, find you there, I found you in the city. Oh, find you there, I found you in the city. Play your music all night long, a purple drape around your arms. In the morning, don't drift away, and be the one that makes me stay. Oh, find found you here in the city. Oh, found you there. Found you here in the city. Streets talk as I walk away. Hear your voice throughout the day. In the doorway, holding you. Feel the world that's coming through. Found you there. I found you here in the city. Oh, found you there. I found you here in the city.
And we are back. That was Change My View and In the City by John Boyle. John, you already kind of gave us a brief rundown of these songs before we got to hear you play them. Thank you for performing those. I'm really excited to hear. I feel like I've heard them before. Like, I know I've heard In the City.
That's because I ripped them off from Foo Fighters. And no, joking.
No, in fact, I found myself singing In the City as you were playing it off to the side, because I remember it's like that was one of my favorites of yours when I listened to it on Spotify.
Yeah.
Which again, number one, John Boyle, my number one for Spotify this past year.
It's not bad.
No, not bad at all. You beat out Lenny Kravitz.
I was surprised to see, so like this past year trying to promote those a little bit and get things out. It is weird to have like someone from you have no contact with who's like lives in the UK or something. Be like, I really like this guy, like really like this music, like year-end wrap-ups. It was like, where is this coming from?
No, yeah.
Why does this exist? Which is wild that we live in a world like that you can do that.
Mm-hmm. No,
we used to just paste flyers to like a telephone pole and like driving to Chicago was a big deal to play a show.
Now there's a guy here in town. I don't know if you've seen the flyers. Mouse P.
No, I don't know Mouse P.
Like
I know Juice Gas, though. Do you know Juice Gas?
I don't know Juice Gas.
Ever driven out on 38th Street by the art museum?
I haven't.
Graffiti tags?
No. My area right now is, Meridian, Pennsylvania, Talbot,
cool. Good.
That kind of area.
Yeah.
A little bit north of that, into the fairground areas.
Yep.
A lot of Mouse P.
Guy, Master P?
Mouse P.
Okay. So Mouse P.
Master P?
Yeah.
Wow. No, Mouse P. Actually, some of his stuff slaps. Huh. Not gonna lie.
What is it?
It's rap.
Rap, okay.
Yeah, it's hip hop. I mean,
sure.
But some of it.
It's bluegrass. And it slaps.
And he goes by Mouse P.
And he goes by Mouse P. He's changing the game, man. You can
totally
do that now.
You can. No, but you're absolutely right. That was what you did. You would post flyers to the wall, or the local record shop.
Yeah.
And
well, you had no clue. Like, I think any decent musician is like thinking like, oh man, I'm gonna like make it big one day or something. Which is still, it'd be like, I don't need to work, this job, but I can just play music or something.
Yeah, that's a pipe dream.
Well, but it was like, how are you gonna do that? We would joke about like sending a diorama of the band to like, like Capitol Records or something. You like move it, a little CD player, and like move us around on stage. That was like how we were gonna differentiate ourselves from the competition because the music wasn't gonna get it there.
No.
So we had a gimmick. But now it's like you put stuff out and it's like it's doing well. Why is that song doing well? And it'd be like, I don't know. That's cool. It's also I don't know. It's just neat, And
well, I heard that. It wasn't someone around here, but some band experienced a resurgence that hadn't had a hit since the 70s or something like that. But because it was someone in Japan had put it in a video of them playing a video game.
That's incredible.
And it went off the charts because the video went viral.
That's insane.
and that song was featured.
That's incredible.
And so this guy or this band, what I can't remember, but it was because of a video game.
Yeah.
And it was because of something that happened in Japan, and all of a sudden this guy's up on the
He's
charts
back.
again.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, it's not like, Stranger Things,
right,
but
right. But it's still cool.
that is still very cool.
It's neat that the music's out there.
Yeah.
It's neat that a lot of music is out there. That's also a crazy thing because it's so
Well, it's overwhelming.
wild. It's super overwhelming. I find that process of finding music to be really weird,
Yes.
which I have no clue how to do. I'm just not good at that. Where my little brother is like, check out this guy. It's 1976 Ethiopian Afrobeat, and you're like, what is happening? It's like this is the coolest music I've heard lately.
Yeah.
And it is, and and it's like, how did you find that? And he's super, just people looking for stuff. And
No,
they're
seriously,
finding it.
I don't know how to look for music
Yeah.
anymore. That's at the end of the day kind of like one of my biggest fears is I feel like I'm going to get stuck in my own little
Oh yeah.
puddle of music
Yeah.
that I'm not going to be able to break out of.
Right.
And I have found that because I do this show, I listen to, if I'm listening to anything, if I'm not listening to what I normally listen to,
Yeah.
I'm listening to local music.
Yeah, which is awesome.
It is awesome because and I'm enjoying the newness of
Yeah.
it. It's funny that it almost makes you feel hipsterish to a certain degree because you can be around here and be like, oh yeah, I've been listening to Ian Mast. Have you heard of Ian Mast?
Right.
No, I haven't heard of Ian. Well, let me tell you. And Ian was actually a guest on this show, so I'm not
so you're plugging it.
I'm plugging him.
I like that. I like this podcast for that. Plug in this podcast. You can cut this out and cut it if you want. Another podcast I do enjoy.
Oh no, absolutely,
okay.
bring it on. Yeah,
no. Let's play 10, which is Fortify. That's that group's putting that out, but it's not local, but it is independent. A lot of smaller independent musicians.
Yeah,
they're very supportive, and then it's like, oh, well, let's go listen to that. And who is this band? And they're like, yeah, they're from Massachusetts. They're really awesome. You're like, oh, that's cool. And then being a musician that's trying to tour a little bit, when they can, they're like, okay, trying to book some gigs out on the East Coast. Be like, oh, remember that band that was really freaking awesome?
Oh yeah.
Be like,
yeah.
oh, okay, now you're getting to find these people. And it's
Yeah.
like that's a cool way to do it. I like it locally because it's like connecting with artists you didn't realize you were doing the exact same thing you're doing, or reconnecting with artists. And
that's one of the things that I have found that I love about Indianapolis right now, at least in my experience doing this podcast, doing my exploration of the music scene, is that no one sounds the same. There are so many unique sounds out there. Indianapolis, I could tell you back in the 90s, remember the Y Store?
Yeah.
That was
that's how everybody sounded.
That was the prototypical Hoosier sound.
Yeah.
Not that it was bad. I really enjoyed the Y Store.
Right.
But that was a Hoosier sound. You fast forward now to 2022, 2023, and the stuff that I'm hearing coming out of this city is crazy.
And it's really diverse. I think it's interesting that so somewhere in between that album, I recorded it at home, and then my drummer moved to Los Alamos, New Mexico before the pandemic for a job. But he's got his drums in his living room, so we just Dropbox the tracks back and forth,
Oh, yeah.
So that's how we did it.
Yeah.
And then, worked on it and mixed and mastered and did all that stuff to wrap it up. But you can just have an idea and go for it. Right? And whatever that is and whatever those influences are, it's like you can put that out there and make something now where it's like, you don't necessarily have to find a stage to perform on to have a stage to perform on.
Sure.
Right? I'm just going to keep dialing this in. Have our band, we're going to work it out, we're going to make this thing come alive. And then because you can reach so many different people, you kind of just breathing life into it and feel good about things. It's a weird time. It's a weird time that it's so accessible.
It is.
And then that other side of I don't know how to find music. It's so accessible I can't find anything. And then
I feel paralyzed by that.
And then it's so accessible I can't find stuff. And then I'm like, who I'm really into right now? Steely Dan. And I'm just going, but it was I have no clue who any new bands are, it's but but they're still there. Then you run into them and you listen to something, or someone's like, check this band out. You're like, oh, super cool, man.
Well, so there's this YouTube channel that I watch.
I am into Steely Dan right now, big time. But go ahead. I'm joking. I'm not joking.
Should be into Steely
It's
Dan.
great.
No, they're great. They're absolutely great. Now there's this the YouTube channel that I watch occasionally called the Punk Rock MBA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fantastic channel. I really enjoy the guy. The host of it, his name is Finn McKenty.
Great name for a punk rock show.
Oh, it absolutely is. And like, it's not just punk rock. I mean, he actually covers a whole bunch of different genres, but but he has his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And so he's actually kind of done a couple reaction videos to a couple of lists that Loudwire's put out to, like, what are the top 50 rock songs out right now, or what are the top 25 pop punk albums of all time, kind of this thing. And I remember watching the one for the rock songs and being like, how many of these bands am I going to know? And two, how dad rock am I going to feel? Because that's the thing.
I don't understand the music.
I know.
What's with this electronic drum set? Back in my day.
No, so it's like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Foo Fighters make this list, and he's like, Red Hot Chili Peppers, what are they doing on this list? I'm like, I haven't heard the album, but I like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I know they have John Frusciante back, so I'm guessing it's good. Yeah. It's actually the kind of how that went down is a little weird, but I feel like anything involving John Frusciante and the Red Hot Chili Peppers is a little weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, but all this back to, and I'm plugging this one more time. You people saw me do this last week. I'm doing it again.
Red Solo cups. The brand problematic drinkers use regularly. Red Solo cups. What's in here?
It doesn't matter. Drink up. Anyway. No, last week, for the first time ever on this show, I plugged 2 playlists that I have dedicated to this show. And it's the Voices of Indy, Volume 1 and Volume 2. They are playlists on Spotify. The first playlist is what honestly inspired this podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
And all local artists of different genres, different types, and the Volume 2 is all the people who appeared on the podcast last year.
Oh, that's awesome.
And at least those who are on Spotify.
Sure.
Not everyone was on Spotify. And I'm looking at you, Paul Holland. Get on Spotify.
I can't remember their name. We were just talking about a band, and they have no social media. And they're doing great on the road. Like, they're trying to book shows, and people are like, how many Spotify? How many Facebook likes? And like, they don't have that. And I was like,
That's not fair.
How awesome. I mean, they just were like,
No,
we're
it
not
is
going to play that
awesome.
game. They're just on Bandcamp, I think.
That's...
They're like, if you like it, you can pay for it or not. Do what you want. Anyways, we don't care about that stuff. And it was like, I'm so proud of everything that's happening in that. As like someone who feels their hearts ripped out with like marketing every now and then.
No,
which is the big business part of being in the business, right? You got to play music you got to work to work.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is like I have seen, in an effort to promote my music, I have seen so many videos, watched so many different people tell me what to do who are in the music business. This is how you get your music out there, and there's nothing about playing music or
enjoying
music. It's all about social media. It's all about how you expand your presence,
which is then like a crazy game. So anytime I feel anytime I make a music post, I'm like, new album's out, it's Friday, put that out. And then within seconds you get like 4 things, like a like and a comment, like promote it on _ Capitol Records, and you're like,
I hate those.
God. Then the other one, this hit us last week, so we've got the show coming up Friday to promote that album. It's at McGowan Hall in Indy. It's sold out.
Congratulations.
It's like a nice little listening room, but it's going to be packed. It's going to be a great little thing, but we sold it out. So we had to sending that.
No, you get to say that.
It's fun. That's a
Yes.
real thing that happened. But then now all the posts and all the comments are, I've got 3 tickets. And it's like, no, you do not. You live in Dubai. You do not have 3 tickets. So they're just going to scam family and friends and people in the Indy area that know who
jeez.
we are and want to come, you know. It's like, but it's such an interesting, weird place. It's a minefield to
It
navigate,
is.
you know. But I mean, that's part of it, right? So
No, it is.
everything is. Any business, I suppose, is got that.
It does. But I especially hate the promote it on whatever platform that they are trying to.
Send us $13 and you'll get tons of likes. I was like, that's a very weird amount of money. No transaction has ever been done for $13.
Nope. Nope. Oh man. So tell me a bit about your now. By the time this airs, your performance will have taken place.
Fantastic.
But tell me about this event at McGowan Hall.
Yeah.
And it's you, it's Malingo. And was there a third
and
artist?
Sadie Johnson.
Sadie Johnson.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yes.
All
Tell
indie,
me about this.
indie musicians. So, we've put this new album out. Like, proud of it. Original music. So, we wanted to put on a show for artists to play original music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love playing covers. It's very fun.
but-
there's some great shows I've played that were cover nights or, venues that I love around town, bars, that I'm more than thrilled to play at because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to play music all night and play a lot of songs people know and slip some of your own in and make a little money to help pay for the next album.
Didn't you play at Burnside?
Yeah, and I'm playing there in February.
Oh, fantastic.
So if you're around, Saturday nights, any night for music at Burnside's a lot of fun.
Yes.
So it's that's good stuff, but it's also fun to play a 30-minute, 40-minute, 45, 50-minute set of original music. Like that jolt of pride is like real, it's like this is something I wrote. I'm really proud of these songs and they stand on their own and people are going to come and listen.
Yeah.
So, with this new album coming out, it's one that I'm not doing vinyl for it. CDs, I think people buy a CD more as like giving you a tip and a thank you, than actually you buy a car and it doesnesn't have a CD player in it. People aren't listening to them.
No, seriously, I just printed up my first album on CD.
Yeah.
Only 50 of them.
Yeah, that's right. You do a small quantity.
A small quantity, and
make it a real thing.
Well, exactly. It was a weird sensation of actually having a physical copy of something that I've done. But yeah, it's the new AOL coaster.
That's right.
Yeah.
But so what are we gonna do? It's like, well, I would just celebrate the album instead of like an album release and all that stuff. I was like, we'll just celebrate the album. I was like, well, I'll get some T-shirts. And I was like, well, I don't want it to be the album cover, so it's like a cat and it says John Boyle knows basic algebra. And it's like,
I love it.
yeah. And if you're there, you can be one of the people that owns that, and that's a thing. So it was like, okay, I want to do this. I want to do this with the band, so John Boyle and Soul Driven, rocking and rolling, turning it up a little bit. So we've got that, playing with those guys. We're going to play new songs off the new album, old ones that were acoustic that are now electric. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then I've seen Sadie play in Indy, and she's blues, rocking, shredding solos and stuff. You're like, that's perfect. Let's do that. Like, do you want to play a original set? Yes, awesome. Same with Malingo. It's like a fully original band that's coming together as a group, and it's a little for me. I'm playing twice. But it's going to be a lot of fun because it's a
No, but you're playing mandolin. You're
weird
doing something completely different.
playing mandolin. That's different.
Yeah.
I'll do a complete wardrobe change before the pyrotechnics.
Fantastic.
But those are details.
Yes, minor details.
But it's fun to be able to put those together, and then it's fun to have those shows come together in like a unique listening area in Indiana. So it's fun. Big venues, awesome. I got to play at the Tarkington Theater this year. That was super rad. Up at the Center for the Performing Arts. Incredible to play that, and opening for Jimmy Vaughn.
I was gonna say yes. You've had quite the musical experience here. What was it like to open up for Jimmy Vaughn?
It was awesome. It was incredible. The stage, playing there is incredible. For hundreds and hundreds of people in a beautiful venue that has incredible sound. And then, you walk in the door and they're like, let me show you to, your dressing room. And, it was
Yeah,
like,
no.
dressing room, what are we doing here? I was just going to sleep in the back of the stage or something. And then hanging out with the band, like meeting Jimmy Vaughn, who a year before at a show, we were playing one of his songs, Fabulous Thunderbird song, just for fun, So I was like, that's incredible to go and have that kind of night and that thrill and just the joy of like everything we're trying to do, just like getting able to do it. And that was a night of all original music, 30 minutes on stage, just playing songs I wrote and people,
That's fun.
seemingly enjoying them
Yeah.
or they were paid to clap, whatever came first. I don't care. But,
Sure.
so it's fun. And but then to take it to like McGowan Hall and like a really awesome little listening room, that is another small local group, McGowan Hall, just putting on shows, trying to bring the vibe of the city to life, and have a place for artists to meet or have a place for visual artists to do things or, all these different ways to be creative and playing in a room to 75 versus, 400 is a way different feel.
Sure.
And you feel it. And then so it's like,
It's an
the
intimate
fun.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
fun. Yeah.
And it's fun to be like in a listening room compared to a bar where everybody's talking over you the whole time, So then you're like, okay, yeah, we're really trying to do this. And I think, one of the fun things about playing all those shows back before the pandemic, just in a row,
Yeah.
a lot of shows, maybe 3-4 a weekend, just it was cool to like, okay, the song's the song. That's there, the form's there, that's good. But like, what is it going to be tonight? And not completely rewrite it, but what's the vibe? What's the energy? Like, it's January 14th. I am in Milwaukee. It snowed a lot last night. And I'm walking into this weird little bar called the Weird Bar, which I don't think made it through the pandemic, but it was incredible. Purple bar. You're like, I don't know what's going to happen. Chicago last night was fun, but let's just see how this rolls.
Yeah.
I walk in, and there's no one. It's like 8:45, and there's a bar manager and a bartender, and I'm like, yeah, where are you guys? Are you guys doing music? Yeah, back there. And it's like I was like, snow. It could be. What do you guys think it's gonna be? So no, probably good night. Probably good night. I'm like, I'll trust you. So I get up. The lights are on and everything's going. It's like, oh, this is not bad. Just start playing, and then like people are trickling in, and and it's like, then people are actually hanging out and listening, and then through the front of the venue you can see like a giant purple school bus pulls up, and I'm like, surely that's not full of people who are already half drunk who are excited about music, and like 40 adults, get off of that thing and walk in, and then the rest of the night was incredible, but it was like,
That's
well,
such a great
how's
story.
this song gonna go tonight? It
Yeah.
was like maybe it's gonna be a little more emotional or dug in, or maybe I'm just gonna breeze through it because I'm just not really feeling it, and it's fun to explore that. I think that's the most fun of live performance is not forcing like the square peg into the round hole. Like what's this vibe? Should we play a little quiet tonight? Well, how's that work? Or I was practicing with our bassist, and I just went up to his house with an acoustic, and he was just playing differently because I was playing differently because it was acoustic, not electric. But we were both listening to each other, and it was like, that is what the song needs if we do it like this, isn't it? Like, just a little different, same but different.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, that to me is like the most fun experience of just listening to each other and finding it, and someone making a mistake and then capitalizing on the mistake, or that somehow becomes how the song goes forever.
Yeah.
You're like, solo is way different than we used to do it. It's like, oh, that's a cool evolution to see. And I like putting that out for people to listen to, people to enjoy, and it's fun to bring other bands in. I'm excited for Sadie to be in that room playing for that crowd. I'm excited for Malingo to be in that room playing for that crowd. And the next gig, whoever it is, be like,
exactly.
Let's find another. Let's do it again.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Get other groups, other venues, and it's like, oh, let's do. Who do you know, Josh? Be like, well, let's. Yeah, man, they sound good. Let's book them. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Because those shows are fun. They're easy. They're like low stakes in that you just get to have fun doing it, versus like a show. It's like, we got to stick it. This is our chance to make it big,
right?
I'd be like, and then I'm going to go home and I'm going to walk the dogs, and I'd be like, okay,
yeah,
balance your life out, man.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Enjoy it, but also walk the dogs. They need it.
Exactly. No, it kind of goes back to, and this is obviously at this point kind of a shameless plug, for IIE, but how the end of that advertisement is redefine making it.
Mhm.
And the effort that kind of goes into like making it isn't what we think it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, this could be making it. It's, being able to play being able to play your music
Yes.
in front of a crowd, and not have to worry about playing covers.
Yeah.
Not that covers are bad.
No, they're fun.
Because we all know that plenty of bands,
Yeah.
legit bands out there, bands
Great
that have
musicians.
made it,
Yeah.
play covers.
Totally.
And that's just part of the shtick.
Yeah.
But when you're at this level, it's just like,
Well, I think, yeah, that's totally it, like redefining making it, right?
Mhm.
Like, because it's fun to make it, so what does that look like to you? Last year, coming out of the pandemic, it was like, I just want to play music with my friends.
mhm,
That's what a good year's going to look like.
mhm.
Like, are we going to do 58 shows again? Not going to happen. Am I almost going to get beat up in St. Louis? I hope not. But, we won't repeat those conversations or,
Sure. Yeah.
when that guy at the end of the bar is on his 18th gin and tonic, like, just avoid.
Right.
It'd be like, they should put chicken wire in Canton, Ohio. It should be like the Blues Brothers. A couple stories where I almost got beat up.
Man.
Weird. But, so it was like, I just want to play music with my friends.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the most fun part. And we did. And we got to play some great shows, and it was wonderful. And then people came out. They enjoyed that. And I don't know, like, I don't even know that I'd want to be in a giant situation.
I actually kind of agree with that. I'm not.
Like, this is great. This is great.
I
This
love.
chat playing tonight, playing for these people,
Yeah.
like listening or watching or however they digest a podcast. It's like, hope you like it,
Yeah.
like, if you don't, cool, because someone else will be on next week and you'll probably like them, like,
Yeah, hopefully.
just keep finding stuff,
Yeah.
or pass it along.
Well, we have come to the point in the show where I like to do my advertisement for the Engine Room, which is where
Do
we
it.
do this
Yeah.
fantastic,
Which is awesome.
podcast. If I do say so myself. The Engine Room Recording Company. They are located in Broad Ripple Village, just north of downtown Indianapolis, and they specialize in making your projects go. I know this for a fact because they are making my project go, as I am currently recording my second album here at the Engine Room. Podcasters, bands, audiobookers, rappers, singers, songwriters, and everyone in between, the Engine Room Recording Company has the engineers, the equipment, and the environment to fuel your projects. Check out Broad Ripple's recording studio by visiting for more information on their services, artists they've recorded, and gear they have at engineroomrecordingcompany.com. And be sure to visit their Instagram page by searching Engine Room at Engine Room Recording Company. Well, I kept the camera on you that whole time, but that's okay.
That's okay.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, pump it in.
Well-
I should have reacted more favorably, like oohs and ahs. So okay.
What I'm gonna do is I'm actually in post. I'm just gonna
Just
put the
make a
logo
nice
right
little
over your
logo.
face.
Okay, this is okay. So talking about that projects you're working on,
Yeah.
I have I want to hear about your project, but I have a project. I want your feedback, honest feedback.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's a television series pitch. It's called.
Bring it to me.
Okay. It's called Dr. Ciabatta.
Dr. Ciabatta.
Yeah. Dominic Ciabatta is Dr. Ciabatta, and he's like a doctor,
Is
but
it-
he's an actual ciabatta loaf, and he's got his little doctor's coat on and the stethoscope, but he's in like a medical drama, like ER,
Yeah.
and it's never acknowledged that he's a
That he's a.
ciabatta loaf. He's
Yeah.
just trying to save lives.
I would watch that.
and like the relationships are real. But there's also like every now and then there's a little pun, like he's got to prove himself, or like the baking puns. I don't know enough about baking. That one's I hear on good authority is a good pun.
I would watch that.
Dr. Ciabatta.
I don't watch a lot of medical dramas or any of those,
Yeah.
like the CSI
I
or
don't
anything
either.
like that anymore.
But it's about the relationships.
It really is.
Yeah. So
And
If we
if you have a relationship with a loaf of bread,
and you don't know that,
And
but
you-
it is a loaf of bread, and then and I suppose where I take it is like here in the engine room, like we're gonna need to do a voiceover for Dr. Ciabatta.
well, you would.
I'm hoping we get Clooney, but
He's already done a medical drama. I don't know.
I
if
know
he's
that's why it'd be so good if he came back to do it.
It's almost like coming back to his home.
He'd redefine it.
He
could
would
redefine the
redefine
role
it.
he helped define.
That
Wow.
mind blown.
Doctor, he'd be Dominic Ciabatta. Doctor Dominic Ciabatta. I think he's an osteopathic surgeon. I don't know what that means, but I think it'd be good.
Okay, I think you've had too much of the red Solo cup.
Have I?
Maybe,
No.
maybe,
Dude,
maybe not.
I got yelled at for continuing that joke way longer than it needed to the other night. Told you not to take notes on that. That was the exact phrase that came out.
Oh man. Oh well. We this has been a truly entertaining hour that we have been doing this together, and I have loved every minute of it. But I'm going to ask you what I ask every one of my guests.
Get out.
That's a demand.
Like, it's not a question.
That's not a
But I'm
question.
going to ask you, play.
It would be get out. It is. What have I missed? What have we? What would you like to plug that we haven't addressed yet, or what would you like to bring up that we haven't addressed yet?
What do we want to talk about? Well, the new album's out there.
Yes, let's
go enjoy that.
And the name of the album is
Somewhere in Between.
Somewhere in Between. Okay.
And there's a bunch of songs out there. Came out, some singles.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's out. There's some cool songs. A lot of them are kind of like fictional. So, Change My View, Eternal Sunshine. Echo is a cool song I wrote in college with a acoustic duo I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren Moore was singing, I was playing guitar, and we wrote that song. And then, time goes on, that went on the shelf. I kind of resurfaced the lyrics and brought it in. And that song's like a 14-minute track, like it's part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4.
Wow.
Track 1 is like a track,
Yeah.
and then, it's all instrumental from there.
Wow.
But that's like the music, my personal music journey, kind of,
Mhm.
without the punk rock and ska. We just left that out altogether.
I'm hoping the next rock.
It might have one. It could be a trumpet. Very well could be a trumpet. But it starts with kind of the acoustic side of things, and then grows into the indie band, and then shifts into this, kind of weird funk rock, sort of like jazzy funk rock, that Triple inspires, and me playing bass in that band. And then it shifts into the soul-driven phase, with Brent Murph of just complete rocking. But that's like a 14-minute journey into my brain of music, which if you don't like it after 14 minutes or at any point in the song, if you're like, I don't like it, you can either hang on for more because it's going to change.
It's going to change.
Or you just truly don't like me as an individual and just write that somewhere, mail it to me. I like getting mail. I've got a P.O. box I'll put up. No, I'm joking. I wish I had a P.O. box. Yeah. But like, that's a cool song. I think people should check that out, or any of them. There's, it's a cool little album that I'm pretty proud of. So
that's awesome.
If
I had a physical copy of it, I would hold it up and
you would.
say,
Yeah, I don't. I
don't
superimpose right there.
something. Yes.
But it's good. I like it. It's kind of, I think, the follow-up to the Early Lights album, the electric follow-up to that. And then there's Prelude and the Soul Driven album's the follow-up to that. So it'll be
very
fun.
cool.
Take the ride,
Very cool. And you can find that everywhere.
Everywhere, including Napster, which is still a thing.
It is.
Which our music still gets posted to.
Yes, mine does too.
Don't know how or where. I don't want to get on Napster.com because I'm afraid I'm going to get
busted by the FBI?
I guess.
Maybe. Could happen.
Could happen.
I don't go there either.
Did you ever get anything off of Napster?
I'm not going to perjure myself like that. I plead the fifth.
I remember LimeWire. You remember that?
I do remember LimeWire.
Did you have a CD burner back then? You remember when we were burning CDs?
Who are you? Are you a cop?
Not yet. That's a great. Oh man, what if Dr. Ciabatta has a spin-off series, and like it's about a baguette who's like a beat cop,
Okay.
And he's like no nonsense. He's a crusty old cop.
Okay.
Vincent Baguette is
Vincent Baguette and Dominic Ciabatta.
Yeah. We'll work on that. It goes by Vinny. He's like really into the neighborhood. I guess he could be an Italian loaf, and it could be like a Sopranos thing.
It could be.
See,
Yeah.
man. This is the magic.
You got something. I told you I would watch this. I would.
It's gonna be good.
It is.
This is probably the end of my music career, and I'll just go into series writing.
There you go.
Be the next Vince Gilligan.
Hey. Well,
Right?
I mean, if you can turn Dr. Ciabatta into Breaking Bad,
That's the plan.
that is.
That's the plan.
That
A
is.
gritty medical drama.
I'm here for
And
it.
then there's the spinoff
Yes.
with Vinny Baguette.
With Vinny Baguette. Now, I'm here for it. Although
Or-
baguettes are French.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that.
Okay.
What do you call an Italian? What kind of Italian loaves are there?
I don't know.
Ciabatta?
I think ciabatta is
It's
your
a son
Italian
of-
loaf. think it through a little bit longer. How about?
Okay, we'll get back to you.
All right, sounds good. So that brings us to the end of the show, if that's okay.
I'm great with it. Okay. If you are.
I think this ended solidly.
So well.
John, thank you so much for being on this week. I really appreciate it. You have been a tremendous guest. I encourage everyone to check out your album on Spotify, Apple Music, Napster, LimeWire, wherever you can download it, legally or illegally.
Doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter to John. He just wants you listening. So thank you very much, and I look forward to having you on with your other bandmates from Malingo here in a couple of weeks.
That'd be great, man.
So, all right. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. That's going to do it for us. My name's Josh Gillespie. This has been John Boyle. We'll see you again next week when my guest will be Guy Zensei. I'm excited for that, guys, and we're keeping this going. The truck is moving. We'll see you. Bye.